I, 28 male, am currently the owner of a tech company. My brother and I started this company. However, his wife needed expensive surgery. When I had a job and had some money, I offered him the money if he let me buy him out. He was upset because he expected me to give him the money for free and really begged me not to buy out his shares. I told him he could otherwise go to a bank, but we'd taken on loans and he didn't want to take on more. So I bought him out of the company and took on the loans of the company. Since then, the company has been doing phenomenally, and as the owner, I'm netting $1 million a year. My brother, on the other hand, has been struggling because of his wife's medical expenses. Insurance won't cover it and he is working a job. At a family event in my new house, my brother got really upset and called me an idiot and snake for buying him out. But he didn't understand I was putting myself in a situation of debt because I was giving up my security. We got into a bitter argument before I told him to leave. My parents aren't commenting, and my wife thinks I was right because he shouldn't have expected me to light myself on fire to keep him warm. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You took advantage of your brother for money. The man's wife needed medical support and you used that against him. He had to choose between the health of his wife, family, and money. He chose family. You obviously have different values. Your wife is also an idiot. Of course, she has no qualms about your brother since her meal ticket takes in $1 million a year and she can throw parties in your new house. You two deserve each other. Absolutely disgusting behavior. Business is business and there was no guarantee it would succeed after you bought him out. Not the idiot for buying him out. If the company had bombed and you were in debt by yourself for all those loans, would anyone help you? That being said, since the company is doing well, it wouldn't be a bad thing for you to help with her bills. You are the idiot. You could have made a different agreement that didn't cut your brother out of the business he helped launch. For instance, a loan or something taking it out of his future earnings with the company. You might not have intended it this way, but to him it likely feels like you used his misfortune to screw him out of his future success. You are the idiot. You forced your brother into a move he didn't want to make. He couldn't take a personal loan out due to the startup company's loans. You could have offered him a personal loan rather than a buyout. You didn't have to give him the money. Still, there were other options beyond taking away a company or a project important to him, especially for medical reasons. And now, when the company is doing well, the one your brother helped start, you're rubbing it in his face rather than realize your part in his struggles. Unbelievable. You could fix this, but since you're an idiot, I doubt you do. He offered the brother a deal. The brother had a choice, After buying him out, OP took the company's debt. OP is not the idiot. The company wasn't doing that well at the time, so I assume you paid him fair value. Your brother didn't have to sell to you. He could have got a personal loan for his wife's medical expenses from the bank. He chose to sell to you. It seems your brother is entitled, wanting to keep his shares but expecting you to pay for his wife's expenses with money you worked for. That doesn't seem fair at all. Let me think here. I can either have my brother buy me out of the company we founded together or have my wife suffer under her medical condition, refusing her the medical help she needs. Could you give me a few days to think about that one? All I could think of is, you really took advantage of your own brother during a crisis. I, 24 male, have a young son, Jackson. My ex-girlfriend hasn't been around since he was a toddler, so it's only him and me. He's super affectionate with everyone. He gives me like 1 million hugs and kisses every day, LOL. Sometimes at night he comes to my room because he's scared or just misses me, and I let him sleep with me. He doesn't do it a lot, usually when he has a bad dream. But we just moved to another apartment this month and he's still scared of sleeping alone in his new room, even with his nightlight on. Most nights he comes to my room to sleep. My sister came over on Friday so kids could have a movie night. It got late, so they slept on the couch. I put Jackson in his room, then went to bed. He woke me up in the night to ask if he could sleep in my bed, so I lifted the covers and let him sleep there. In the morning, my sister came to my room to ask if I wanted to order breakfast for the kids. Then she saw Jackson sleeping with me. She didn't say anything then, but later she told me that was really inappropriate. I asked what was inappropriate, and she said that Jackson was sleeping with me in my bed, and I need to be careful because people will get the wrong idea. Also, me always hugging him and letting him give me kisses on the cheek. Seriously, what? I asked her what's wrong with it, and to her it didn't seem right that I'm his dad, not his mom, so it's weird. Like even her husband doesn't do that with their son. She also pointed out our dad wasn't like that either with me, kind of why I'm trying to be different with my son. To me, it just sounded crazy. It just bothered me a lot that her mind would even go there over my son, literally just sleeping in my room because he's young and scared of the dark. I called her out and said, stop being stupid just because her husband acts differently with their kids and she should mind her business next time. She got quiet after and we didn't talk. Later, she texted me some stuff that she's sorry for looking out for us and expressing what she felt was not appropriate or something like that. I don't know why she went to my mom about it because now she thinks I shouldn't call my sister stuff like that when she just felt weird. I'm affectionate with my son like that, letting him sleep with me. My sister feels I should apologize for snapping and calling her, but I don't see why I'd need to. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and she needed to be told to mind her own business. So what that your little son climbs into and occasionally sleeps in your bed? It's his safe zone. And so what if he kisses you and hugs you a lot? That's what little kids do. She needs to accept that no two kids are the same and must remember that he only has one parent, not two. And she needs a serious wake-up call that men can be affectionate and close without it being inappropriate in any way. If hugging and kissing one's mum isn't wrong, then acting the same with one's dad should be viewed the same. She just thinks adult males can't be trusted with children, and it's inappropriate for them to be affectionate. It's people like her who perpetuate the idea that fathers and sons shouldn't be affectionate with one another. Disgusting. I'm proud of you, OP, for making better changes for your son. Not the idiot. Exactly this. My dad never hugged my brothers. He would shake their hand. It's taken years for my messed up brothers to learn to take a hug from me, well into adulthood. My younger brother has 2 boys he's been able to be physical with, and it's really lovely. His sons are growing up affectionate and caring. You're absolutely in the right here, and good for you for being so loving under challenging circumstances. Not the idiot. It sounds like your sister is kind of hung up on traditional gender roles for parents. From what you say, it sounds like Jackson doesn't have a mother. If your sister brings it up again, simply remind her that your child is motherless. You are in a position whereby you have to fulfill both mother and father's traditional roles. I, 18 female, have a pretty messed up pair of legs, have had since birth. I can walk, but I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user. I'm currently due an upgrade for my chair. I've had it for close to 7 years and it's a bit messed up. It's gotten pretty uncomfortable and it makes noise, but as I said, I've had it 7 years and I've grown attached to it. We're saving to pay for the new one at the moment. I have one teacher, my English teacher, who constantly comments about how banged up looking it is and gets pretty annoyed anytime I dare move and it makes noise. She says it's distracting. The comments about the chair's appearance annoy me a lot because it's hardly going to look brand new after 7 years of constant use. She made a comment this morning along the lines of, "You know, you should really get a new one. That one looks like it's about to collapse under you." I got furious about this and I said, "You know what? If you think I should get a new chair so bad, you can pay the nearly $4,000 it's going to cost, or you can stop making nasty comments about something that literally doesn't affect you." She didn't really look at me until the end of the class, but the boy who sits beside me said I was slightly the idiot as she probably didn't realize how difficult the process is. Am I the idiot? Totally not the idiot, and good for you, OP. You should go one step further and report the teacher to the administration for harassment. She might not realize how difficult the process is. Give me a break. She's a teacher. She's an adult. She knows things like not to publicly embarrass a student, or not be a terrible role model to the kids witnessing it, or not to be an ableist, or how about not to be a crummy person? Not the idiot. It's bizarre and so rude to comment on someone's wheelchair. Has she just crawled out from under a rock? Of course, wheelchairs are expensive. I would reach out to the principal just to be sure she doesn't hold this against you come time for grades. Not the idiot. Mobility aids are often expensive and hard or slow to get the right fit for the individual. It doesn't take someone with vast medical knowledge to know this, and even if it did, she's an adult and supposed to be a professional. It's not acceptable for her to pass comment on any aspect of a student's appearance. I don't get what the kid next to her was on about either. It doesn't matter what the teacher did or did not know because ignorance is never an excuse for causing harm. Not the idiot. As a teacher myself, I am mortified by your English teacher. If she is that concerned about the condition of your wheelchair, the only acceptable thing would be to pull you aside and ask if you are open to her helping doing some fundraising. She knows those chairs are not cheap. We all know those chairs aren't cheap. It also bothers me how concerned she is with the noise from your chair distracting her. Legit, the other noises coming from everywhere while teaching are distracting, and you get used to them. Pencil sharpener being used, still teaching. Kids whispering to each other, still teaching. Kids running down the hall outside your classroom, yeah, still teaching over that too. I wish you the best dealing with this teacher. I would consider reporting her. I hope that only for your sake, since you talk about being uncomfortable sitting in it, that you get your new chair soon. Okay, I, 25 female, and my mum, 65, are currently on a roadie around my country during my study break. We stopped off in a smallish town and go into a cafe to grab a hot drink. I asked the lady at the counter for a decaf flat white. She recited my order back correctly. I confirmed and paid. I can't drink caffeine as it triggers my anxiety and migraines, but I love the taste of coffee. 20 minutes later, Mum and I are walking around and I suddenly feel a tightness in my chest, heart pounding, and my breaths are quickening. I soon realize I'm about to have a panic attack. We take a seat and I calm myself down. I get panic attacks often, sometimes out of the blue, so I wasn't immediately concerned. But then the auras started. Panic attacks have never triggered a migraine, and certain foods can trigger a migraine within half an hour of consumption. I knew then something wasn't right. I go back to the cafe and ask the same lady if she's sure my coffee was decaf. She looked super insulted, and after a long pause she said she made it with normal coffee because, and I quote, "Decaf is stripped of caffeine by the same chemicals found in nail polish remover. Caffeine is better for you." To say I was irate would be an understatement. I calmly explained that I don't drink caffeine because it triggers migraines and my anxiety, and that she had no right to alter a customer's order, and if we lived overseas she could be sued. She rolled her eyes and replied with a tone that I can only compare to a bored girl that I should explain my reaction to caffeine when ordering my coffee. She has done much research and has lots of knowledge about foods, preservatives, and preventing illnesses. My migraine was raging, which probably contributed to my foul mood, but I absolutely lost my temper. I said I don't have to explain to anyone about my choices, especially a stuck-up woman who thinks she has the right to make dietary choices on my behalf. I said she obviously has no qualifications to be giving dietary advice as she's working for minimum wage in the middle of nowhere making coffee. I told her she was a danger to those coming in. Altering food requests could lead to an allergic reaction. At this point, the manager comes out, and my mum explains what has happened as I storm off outside to take my pain medication. I come back in and the woman is gone. Now the manager is sweet-talking my mum, basically begging her not to complain to the local council. Local government dictate who can and can't open shops that sell food. In the car, Mum tells me I was a bit of an idiot and should have just left and let it be. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There are a few golden rules in life. Be nice to animals. Treat others how you want to be treated. Don't mess with other people's food. What she did was reckless and incredibly dangerous. She doesn't know your medical history, medications, allergies, or anything else about you. Her choices could have seriously hurt someone and caused you unnecessary pain and anxiety. You did not overreact. This is spot on. What if OP had a severe allergy or is on medication that couldn't be taken with caffeine? The outcome could have quite literally been deadly, and OP had every right to call out the store employee for their reckless behavior. I mean, this isn't even general negligence. This is wanton disregard. Not the idiot. I know you asked for almond milk, but I read an article that almonds actually can give you autism. Plus, cow milk is better for you anyway. Please complain to the local council. She changed your order because she decided she knows best and triggered a panic attack, migraine, and then tried passing blame onto you? What if she did that to someone with a life-threatening allergy? Not the idiot. She's been brainwashed into believing that coffin is less relevant than the hexane traces found in decaf. She did actually hurt you involuntarily because she's dumb and didn't apologize. She's actually a danger. Imagine when she becomes a barmaid and refuses to serve alcohol-free drinks. I've been supporting my family since I was nearly adult. I'm 21 female now. I live with my 2 younger sisters and my mother, 48. My mother has always been a housewife until an event with my dad. He's not here, and we don't have contact. I was a teenager when he left. But my mother always kept to the housewife mentality. She would do anything to avoid finding a job because she lived only off savings that my father left us, and said she never expected to work. She needed help because savings and government money weren't enough anymore, so I found a job 4 years ago and I'm still supporting her. Our agreement was that I paid utilities and she paid rent. She hasn't paid rent though, because in 2019 we ended up with $10,000 debt when she told me she was paying rent the entire time and we got it covered by the government. In 2020, she actually found a job, got all the stimulus, unemployment, etc., and I thought she still had rent handled. We ended that year with $13,000 in debt instead. She lied, and we don't qualify for the same government program again. I've been paying the base rent for the past 4 months, in addition to some utilities. My mom does a couple, and I made sure she's actually doing them this time. Still, it's eating through my bank account. Now she's handling the debt like it's both of our responsibilities to pay it. My savings have been eaten up the past 4 years because I've been supporting them, and not once have they expressed gratitude. They scolded me for not doing more, even though I was a student giving almost their entire income. Our landlord wants to work through this with us because he understands a single-parent household is hard to maintain. Still, he is behind on the mortgage because we are late on all our payments. He demanded we start paying it off this month, or else he will give us a court date. I'm not liable because my name is not on the lease, but I've been helping them for as long as I can, and the rent not being paid is something I simply did not have knowledge of because my landlord didn't even reach out to me until it got to that point. I expressed that I want to move out after my degree, winter. My mom will not look for a job and think she can live off government money or my money for the rest of her life. I need to move on, and I'm being chained down by debt that isn't even mine to pay. She called me an idiot and said I should prioritize my family over my future. She said family is supposed to mean everything and I can't just leave her to get evicted. I think I might be the idiot too because there is a genuine possibility they might get evicted. But I've sacrificed so much for people that would never do the same. Shelters and city housing are also an option. Moving won't clear their debt, but if they downsize or get a less than optimal place for the time being and she actually finds a job, maybe then they can support themselves. Am I the idiot for wanting to move out and leaving my mother to pay her own debt? If family is supposed to mean everything, why won't she get a darn job so her oldest daughter doesn't have to support her entire family? Funny how guilt trips can actually go in a certain direction, but she was busy lying and racking up thousands of dollars in debt because she wanted someone else to take care of her. Not the idiot. OP, you are amazing. You get your degree and run as far as you can, because your mother will continue with all the guilt trips and lies, and you will never be free. Exactly, your mother is coddled. She needs to grow up fast. This debt is not yours to pay, and she is trying to guilt trip you when she put herself in this situation in the first place. I want you to read your own story and think about what you would say if a friend told you this was their situation. This is a 48-year-old woman you're talking about who is manipulating a 21-year-old to maintain the lifestyle she wants. Not the idiot. Your mom is what we call a leech. The fact that she's telling you to put family first when she's the one who refuses to get a job and consistently lies to you about her responsibilities makes her a hypocrite. I feel bad for you and your sisters, but your leaving is the kick in the pants that your mom likely needs. If she doesn't rise to the occasion, I'm sure the government would love to get involved, this time with social services.